The recent fatal shooting of a producer on the set of a movie being filmed in New Mexico has brought it back into focus, the need to better understand gun safety. Well, we'd like to welcome back Nia Hartsfield, CEO and founder of Hard Candy Self-Defense. Thank you so much for being here. Unfortunately, under these circumstances, but the reason why we wanted to talk to you specifically is because you have been around a lot of firearms. You know your way around a gun. And of course, what I'm referring to is the tragic fatal shooting of Helena Hutchinson, producer on the set of a film that Alec Baldwin fatally shot and killed her. When a gun is placed in your hand, you shouldn't necessarily take it for granted that it's been checked and rechecked again. So tell me a little bit more about that process.
Absolutely, absolutely. There are many safety rules and precautions that are put into place that prevent the accidental discharge of a firearm. Three that are paramount. First being to know the condition of the firearm. Know whether or not that firearm is loaded or unloaded. If it is loaded, ensure that it's loaded with the proper ammunition, whether that be rubber bullets, pop caps, live ammunition. I feel that it is your personal responsibility to double check.
Personal responsibility.
That you have a personal responsibility to ensure, okay? The second being to just keep your finger off of the trigger until you're ready to shoot the firearm. And of course, just lastly, making sure that the firearm is pointed in a safe direction, among knowing your target, what's beyond your target. And these are all measures that substantially reduce the risk involved in handling them.
You know, I had the opportunity of being taught by you how to shoot a handgun. I had never done this before in my life. And a lot of people, they consider concealed weapons as a way to feel safe. And when people leave guns around the house, again, what is the safety protocol for someone who is using it as self-defense, who is using it as protection for their home?
Home safety and defense, especially when you have children around or people who aren't authorized to carry or possess a firearm, you have a personal responsibility to ensure that it is locked away, that it is unloaded or kept in a safe place. It essentially comes down to personal responsibility. When we trained in the range, although I'm certified and educated, I knew that you were new, and so just giving you a gun that I had already checked, I needed to make sure that you understood what it meant to check the firearm, not to just look at it, not to just assume, not to point it around, and you were clear in communicating to me that you understood that. And so when we say, hey, you know, I'm going to be a firearms owner, I'm going to use a gun, I'm going to touch a gun, know what you're doing. Know what you're doing. If you don't, I push education. That's my mission in the community. It's about being trained and educated, not just one time, not just going out to get a firearm because it's your right. But understanding the importance in being educated. And I certainly respect you for that.
And being educated, thank you. And thank you for the opportunity, because, you know, learning from someone such as yourself really was an honor. With all of your military training and so much experience under your belt, I felt very safe in learning from you. But you say education is paramount, so education starts at a very young age.
Very young
So
age.
Tell me what happens in your household.
Oh, wow. We have 3 boys. 3 boys. And both me and my husband are military. And as soon as we brought a firearm into the home, that's when the education began with the boys. And that was around age 2, 3. So right around, and people are shocked when I say that, when they say, well, you know, what's the youngest age that you train? I say 5, but really as young as your child is able to, well, when your child begins to communicate. So as simple as no and yes, and not showing or placing the firearm into their hands, but getting them to understand that this is something that we must respect. Okay, it shouldn't be anything that we hide from our children. Many stories I've heard, and I've trained with people who said, wow, the first time I've ever seen a firearm, I found it in my father's closet or my mom's purse or just laying around. And as children, they're curious, they're inquisitive, they're gonna want to know, and they're gonna pick it up. The first thing they do, they're going to pull the trigger. Unfortunately, we've heard so many stories about 3-year-olds 3-year-olds pulling the trigger. It doesn't take much.
Yeah.
But we have a responsibility to know how our firearms operate, the safety mechanisms on there. It goes into great detail, but be aware.
It really invaluable information, Nia. And for anybody who wants more information on your self-defense classes gun safety classes, where do they go?
They need to contact me at hardcandyselfdefense.com. I'm on Facebook at Hard Candy Self Defense INC, and also on Instagram at Hard Candy Self Defense.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nia.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. We're back after this.